ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, NASCAR Cup Series All-Star Race. The Open, 100 laps. Competition caution at 40. We got 17 cars, I think, in it. Anybody who has not won in the last 2 years, 22 and 23, if you have not won a championship or not won the All-Star Race. Those are the qualifications. Anybody else will be in the Open. Now, in order to be eligible for the fan vote, you had to at least attempt to qualify for the Daytona 500. Otherwise, you had to finish in either 1 or 2 position in order to be eligible for the move on. Alright, so the fan vote, right now the top 5, there's no order, but the top 5 is AJ Allmendinger, Eric Almirola, Noah Gragson, Corey Heim, and Ryan Preece. So that means if one of these guys does not qualify in as the first or second position in the Open, they could fall back on the fan vote. That means anybody besides these 5 would have to basically get the first or second spot in the Open. So I think that's kind of cool how they're getting the fans in on it and somebody get in there. I mean, we know drivers have won this race or got the fan vote and won the All-Star race. It happened to Casey Kane, it happened to Michael Waltrip. Now, for qualifying, the pit stop challenge. Qualifying will be based on the fastest 4-tire pit stop. Timing lines will be marked 1 pit stall behind and 1 pit stall ahead of the designated pit box. Results determine starting lineup for the All-Star Heat races and then the Open. So the ones that are already qualified, the 21 drivers that are already qualified for the Open, or for the All-Star race, the winners from last year and this year, any past All-Star winners, which would be Ryan Blaney from last year, because he hasn't won, and any past champions, they are automatically into the All-Star race. I keep wanting to say the Winston. They're in the All-Star race. Anybody else has to go through the Open, and then get the fan vote. So the Open, 100 laps, competition caution at lap 40, and go for have it till the end of 100 laps. The All-Star race itself, we have the heat races, which the 2 heat races will be kind of like the Daytona duels. The first heat race does the inside line, 1, 3, 5, etc. The second heat race does the outside. I love that kind of qualifying. Like they Daytona duels, I would love for them to do that Charlotte with 600. I think that would be awesome. So this is the All-Star race began in 1985. Now, a couple of the more memorable moments. Obviously last year with Ryan Blaney bringing the net down because there was all goofy rules. The race wasn't over, but it was, but it wasn't, so we had to go back. We had one hot night, 1992, Kyle Petty, Davey Allison. Kyle turns Davey right at the start-finish line. Davey wins, slams into the wall, spends the night in the hospital. We all know, I think it was 87, I believe it was, 87 or 89, when Darrell Waltrip in the tie, the Chevrolet Lumina was leading at Atlanta, I think it was Atlanta, might have been Charlotte, and leading on the last corner, and Rusty Wallace in 27 Kodiak turned him for the $1 million, and then the crowd booed the holy hell out of Rusty in the pit crew spot. Can we have an ending like that at North Wilkesboro? 0.6 of a mile. The turns are banked at 14 degrees, the straights at 3 degrees. I think we can. Now, what I would love, if I could go dream scenario, Kyle Larson, last lap, coming out of 3, Ross Chastain leading. Kyle Larson turns him. Here's why I say that. Because then, when Mr. Hendrick doesn't complain about his driver doing that, he's a hypocrite because he complained about the way Ross Chastain drove. And last year, at Auto Club Speedway, Larson put Elliott in the wall. Last year at Watkins Glen, Larson ran Elliott high, his teammate, mind you. And at Las Vegas, he come out of turn 4. He don't lift, put Bubba Wallace in the wall. And then with 14 to go at Darlington, Kyle Larson on the inside. Again, he don't lift. He put Ross Chastain in the wall. Now, he puts Chastain in the wall here. So you complain, and then your driver goes and does that. Yeah, I would have a little bit of fun with some videos on that one. But I hope Ross Chastain keeps his nose clean. We can move on from that. But it really kind of maybe not a takeout finish, but a cool race back to the line, kind of, one hot night kind of finish. I think that would be cool. North Wilkesboro. First race, April 25th, 1948. For the first season of NASCAR, the modified 1948. There's actually 6 modified races that year at North Wilkesboro. Red Byron won the first one. The Cup Series, as we know it now, October 16, 1949, was the 8th race of the season, won by Bob Block. We know Junior Johnson, that was literally, he lived right around the corner. Jeff Hammond's always has talked about on XM Satellite Radio more than once when he was crew chief for DW and Junior, that they would do something with shocks or springs or whatever, and literally Junior would call the track and say, hey, can we come up and use the track? Yep, let me get an ambulance here. Come see you in a few minutes. Hell, they even did this to the car on the back of a flatbed a couple times. They wouldn't take the hauler up there all the time. And they'd go run laps. And hell, Jeff Hammond said he drove the car a few times just to kind of see what it was going to do. Benny Parsons from that area. It's really cool to be going back there. I love how they call it retro mod. So it's a retro track that was modified. So it'd be like having a 57 Chevy Nomad with a XM Satellite Radio. So it's more custom, but yet it's still the cool factor. All right. How do you do picks for something like this? We have 40-year-old asphalt. We haven't been there except for a tire test and now the practice. How do you? So, flat tracks. Think about Richmond, Martinsville, short tracks that are flat. I know in the Truck Series one I did more like Nashville and stuff too, but didn't have a lot to go with. With just Richmond and Martinsville on the flat tracks. Joey Logano 6.6 average finish. Kyle Larson 7.0 in a win. Christopher Bell 8.1 in a win. Ryan Blaney 9.5. Kevin Harvick 9.6 in a win. Chase Elliott 9.8. Denny Hamlin 10.3 in a win. Ross Chastain 10.3. Martin Truex Jr. 11.1. William Byron 11.5 in a win. All right, now this 40-year-old, almost 40-year-old asphalt. 81, 82 when it was paved last. That's gonna eat tires like a freaking cheese grater. So high tire wear tracks. Darlington, Homestead, California, Auto Club Speedway. Joey Logano 9.3, Kevin Harvick 9.8, Denny Hamlin 10.5, Austin Dillon 12.6, Daniel Suarez 13.3, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 13.3, Brad Keselowski 14.0, Chase Elliott 14.3. William Byron 15.5, Kyle Larson 15.6, average finish on just those tracks. And this is all next gen era, so 22 and 23. Alright, so there's been 19 races on either flat tracks or high tire wear tracks. So we're going to put those together. Joey Logano, 8.94 with 3 wins. Now we know Joey Logano has a knack of winning the first time it takes. The first ever LA Coliseum race, Joey Logano won. The first dirt race for NASCAR Dirt on Bristol, Joey Logano won. Last year they went to Worldwide Technology for the first race. Joey Logano won. Joey Logano, flat tracks, high tire wear tracks, 8.94 average finish and 3 wins. Kevin Harvick, 10.94 in a win. Denny Hamlin, 11.36 in a win. Christopher Bell, 11.42 and 2 wins. Chase Elliott, 11.7 and 2 wins. Kyle Larson, 11.73 and 4 wins. Ryan Blaney, 11.73. Kyle Busch, 12.73 and a win. Ross Chastain, 13.52. And then Willie B, 13.89 and 3 wins. Now, there are a handful of teams that were here in 1996 when we closed this track up. Penske number 2 was around. RCR number 3, Hendrick number 5, Roush number 6. Then Roush had the 16, now it's the 17. Gibbs 18, Wood Brothers 21, Hendrick 24, Richard Petty 43. So those were same teams, same car numbers. I know the 43 is Legacy Motor Club. It's owned by Maury Gallagher and Jimmy Johnson, but Richard still is kind of an ambassador for him. So I will still count that as the same And it's got the Petty throwback on it this week, which I think is pretty freaking cool. Let's take a look here. So back in 1996, the teams that were running full-time. Darrell Waltrip Motorsports in the number 17 for D-Dub. Diamond Reds, number 29, had multiple drivers. Steve Grissom was the main one. Hendrick had the 5, the 24, and the 25. Joe Gibbs was a one-car team in the 18. Larry Hendrick, the number 41. Leo Jackson, the number 33. Robert Presley was the main driver. Dave Marcus Auto Racing. Morgan McClure, number 4. Nimco Motorsports, number 87, with Joe Nemechek. Richard Childress had one car, the 3 with Dale. Bill Elliott Racing, or Elliott Hardy Racing, Bill Elliott Racing, the number 94, Bill Elliott. Bobby Allison Racing had Derek Cope. Brett Bodine was the number 11, team formerly owned by Junior Johnson. Bud Moore Engineering in the 15 with Wally Dallenbach. Butch Mock, Kelly Yarborough, Dunleavy Racing, the number 90, Dick Trickle, and Mike Wallace. I mean, just going through this is like taking you back in time. Petty Enterprises, number 43, Bobby Hamilton. Michael Waltrip with Wood Brothers, Hutch Strickland, Stavola Brothers, Travis Carter. I kind of really find it cool with this track. They left some of the Winston Cup stuff up. You can't advertise those now, but since it's still there, they just didn't take it down. They can get away with it. All right. The 4 picks to win the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell. I know there's a lot of people picking Kevin Harvick, returning to number 29. Is it a cool story? I mean, I think it would be cooler for him to win at Martinsville. And I'll tell you why. 3 races left in the season. He won his 3rd Cup race. I think that would be kind of a cool thing. But the 4 picks, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell. It's going to be a fun weekend. Hopefully, in 2024, North Wilkesboro is a points-paying race. Dale Jr. has already said that it's going to be a points-paying race. They need to pave it. I mean, we're going to have asphalt coming up. We all know it already. They're going to have to patch this track over the weekend. But you know what? It's going to be fun regardless. But that is the NASCAR All-Star Race North Wilkesboro preview. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a 50 day Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader sports channel content.